Hey, what's up, sports bettors? Matt Modi here with OddsJam. What I'm going to be doing in this NFL season is giving betting previews for all of the bigger NFL games. I've done one for all of the primetime games and some other of the bigger games this week for week one. So if you want those, check out the OddsJam YouTube channel. For this one's, excuse me, specifically, I'll be giving a betting preview for the Bengals versus the Steelers. So, unsurprisingly, Bengals are pretty heavy favorites here. They are the home team in this game. Obviously, they're coming off of a Super Bowl berth. Unfortunately, a Super Bowl loss, but still made it to the Super Bowl. A pretty impressive run, winning 2 straight road games, beating the Titans, beating the Chiefs, and then falling short to the Rams. Last year, these two teams obviously played twice because they are in the same division, the Bengals winning both of them. But in this year, the Bengals have a lot more hype, obviously, than they did last year. Joe Burrow is a year removed from his knee injury. Obviously, they just made it to the Super Bowl. And the Steelers, despite making the playoffs somehow last year, are dealing with a ton of change, obviously, now that Big Ben has retired. So, in terms of the betting odds and the markets and what they think, as I mentioned, Bengals are heavy favorites here against the Steelers. The OddsJam line, the sharpest line in the world, prices the Bengals at minus 261. They price the Steelers at plus 225. Best odds you can get on the Steelers are at plus 235 on DraftKings. Honestly, I don't hate that. I don't think that's terrible. And if you wanted to bet on the Bengals, best odds you can get would be, looks like FanDuel at minus 270. I would not recommend that. I generally don't touch any money line odds worse than minus 200. But if you wanted to sprinkle some on the Steelers at plus 235, I don't think that's horrible. Looking at the point spread is where things are a little more interesting, which is really cool is the OddsJam, this line shopping tool. It's completely free. So if you want to browse all the odds that I am browsing myself, you can just go to oddsjam.com, sports, NFL, and then you can click whatever game you want. All this is completely free, but this page specifically gives you the main lines at the top so you can see what the main lines are. And then if you want to look at some alternate lines, you can do that and scroll down as well. But for this one, every book has the same exact pricing, or in terms of odds spread for this one at minus 6.5 in favor of the Bengals. And there looks like the more value here is on the Steelers, getting them at minus 107 on PointsBet. I do actually really like the OddsJam line prices the Bengals side of that at plus 101, prices the Steelers side at minus 114. Bet Online, another sharp book, prices it at minus 115. And again, we can get it at minus 107 on PointsBet. And that is also my official prediction for this game. I actually really like the Steelers covering the spread in this game. Like I mentioned, I wouldn't hate sprinkling a little bit on their money line, but I do really like them to cover. And I have a couple reasons why. Number one, if you want to look at DVOA, which I use a lot, I love looking at DVOA just to kind of see how units are favored. Despite going to the Super Bowl, the Bengals weren't really that highly favored analytically. They were 17th in DVOA. If you look at their offense, despite having the fireworks of Burrow and Jamar Chase, they were only 18th. In defense, they were only 19th. So pretty middle of the pack. Now their defense took a step up in the playoffs, especially in that second half against the Chiefs. And offensively, you figure Burrow should be better, another year removed from the knee injury. And they made huge offensive line upgrades, signed 2 new starters, because the offensive line is what held the Bengals back last year. It's why they lost the Super Bowl, was because of their offensive line. But the reason why I am not super high on them this year in terms of like getting the 7 points against the Steelers is I'm not a huge, I don't think their defense, to start off, the defensive performance they put on in the playoffs wasn't necessarily representative of how they were on the season as a whole. And I don't necessarily think a good playoff run is going to translate into a strong year. I think they're more likely to be an average to slightly below average defense. 19th in DVOA sounds about right. They could get up to maybe 12th. They could also drop to maybe like 22nd, is where I would kind of put their range of outcomes. And I also don't trust their offensive coaching staff. Head coach Zach Taylor is one of the most run-heavy coaches in the NFL. He runs the ball a lot on first down. He's also very predictable in terms of how they line up versus the plays they do. So if they line up with a jumbo set, 2 tight ends, they run the ball a lot. If they line up with 3 wide receivers, they pass the ball, giving the defenses kind of gifting the defenses, letting them know what they're going to do. And the smart defenses will catch up to that. So we'll see if he is more aggressive now that they short up the offensive line, now that Burrow is a year healthy. But I'm not buying it. I think that's just his MO. And then on the Steelers side, they have a good defense, obviously, with TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick. They've always had a good defense. But look at the quarterback rankings from last year. If you want to throw up, look at the quarterback rankings from last year, 2022. Burrow is number 1. Good for him. Look who was dead last. Ben Roethlisberger, the literal worst quarterback in the entire NFL last year. So while Mitch Trubisky is starting this game, I'm not saying Mitch Trubisky is great. I think Mitch Trubisky is better than the literal worst quarterback in the entire NFL. So I trust the Steelers coaching staff more than I trust the Bengals. I like Mike Tomlin as a head coach. And I think that their offense will actually get a significant upgrade just from not having Big Ben anymore. Unfortunately, in his old age, he was a statue. He couldn't move. He just checked it down every time. He couldn't throw deep. Just a lot of negative things about Big Ben at quarterback. So I like the Steelers in this one to get at least to cover the spread. That is my official pick. In terms of the total, I don't have a huge lean here. Looks like the books are pricing it at around 44 or 44.5. BetOnline has it at 44, as does the OddsJam line. So if you can get the under 44.5, again on PointsBet at -107, that would be my lean. I would not give that an official pick. It would just be a lean. But in terms of this one, I do like my official pick being the Steelers to cover the spread. And that's going to be it for my Steelers versus Bengals betting preview. Let me know what you guys thought, what I got right, what I got wrong, all that stuff. Make sure to click that subscribe button to get all of these betting previews and our best bets moving forward. But that's it. So I appreciate you guys watching and have a good one.